Hi, social equity mentees. It's Craig from 3D Consulting. I'm in a different location today in my house. I'm downstairs. There's a little bit of craziness going on upstairs with the rest of my family, so I thought I'd come down and do my recording this week. And hopefully, this information will add to your business acumen and enable you to be a better, more consistent and conscientious small business owner, whether it's in whether it's in cannabis retail or, like I say, any business venture that you're in. Okay. So this module is module 4. It's about business plans and realistic business plans. I'm going to talk about what is a business plan, why you need it, who are the different audiences for your business plan, what is an unrealistic business plan, and what are the key points that should be in your business plan. All right. So let's get started. The first thing, what is a business plan? Well, there's a lot of answers to that question. But in general, a business plan is a document that talks about the purpose of your business, your value proposition, your strategic advantage. It probably includes, I always suggest that it includes a financial model. It talks about your competition, about your products and services, about the way that you're going to organize your business and how many folks you're going to employ, that type of thing. Okay, so let me start by saying with the business plan, you want to make sure that it is a document. It is it's not just in your head, which many small business plans tend to be in the owner or operator's head. But the point of this is to get it down in a document, and there's a few reasons for that. One of the main ones is that it's going to be showed to some people, okay? Potential partners, potential lenders, potential investors. Also, you want to have a document for it because it tends to get you focused on what you're really doing, because without having it in writing, I find, and I think a lot of people find, that if you don't have something in writing, it's kind of willy-nilly. You're, you could say you're winging it, seeing how things go. You're not committing to a particular way of doing business or a particular strategy. Just your strategy may be in your head, and you might be just deciding, I'm going to do whatever's best, whatever I think is the best decision each Monday, each Tuesday, each Wednesday, etc. Okay, so you can see the difference. If you have a document that talks about how you're going to compete, what your value proposal is, how you're going to be organized. This is, just like making lists, doing journaling, some of those things. It's really meant to get you focused on how you're going to conduct business. Okay, so we talked about a business plan being a document. Now, one of the things that you want to document in your business plan, as I mentioned before, is your business purpose. Why are you in business? And I think most small business owners and operators, they're in business to, number one, help people solve a particular problem. Number 2, serve other people. And number 3, of course, make a living. Okay. But I was thinking about a really good example, and I wish I knew exactly what the words said on this business's walls when they talk about their purpose. But Mod Pizza, you go into a Mod Pizza store, and if any of you have ever been in one, it's a cool experience, I think, and they have a purpose that they post on their wall, and that's what I was saying. I couldn't quite remember what it was, but it has something to do with, we at Mod are in the business of serving people, and we choose to serve people through pizza. And so you get the idea that it's, you know, the people that started Mod could really, there's so many things that they could do to serve people. And they chose pizza because maybe one of them had an affinity for it. They saw a need in the market, whatever it may be. But the purpose is that they feel that they're there to serve people. And when I go into a Mod store, I get that feeling. And so it is a mainstay. It's kind of a lightning rod in the middle of their organization, why they exist. Okay, so you always have to think, why does my business exist? And I think most businesses exist to help other people solve problems. Okay, and you can think, if you apply that to cannabis retail, I think a lot of folks believe that they are there to help patients and consumers get the best, products, services, advice, introduction. So those are the great things that I love, that I love about this startup industry. And I do feel that people are out there to help other folks. So think about, what is the purpose? What's your mission? Okay. Another thing, your value proposition, what you're going to offer to consumers. And so your business plan, considers why you're in existence and what you offer. And so what you're offering advice, you're offering access, legal access to cannabis products that help a lot of people in a lot of different ways. Okay, so what you're going to offer and your value proposition needs to be strategic. It needs to be a little bit different from, you need to be differentiated from your competitors. Why would people drive past other stores in order to shop at yours? It might be a customer service experience that they have, a superior customer service experience, or your lineup of products is unique and curated, and it is geared toward helping a certain type of customer. A lot of that may be decided by where your location ends up. Okay, because different locations have different clientele with different needs, and it's your job to find out what those needs are and fill those needs, not just think, oh, this is my vision for a great store. This is where I would like to shop, and I'm just going to set it into any locale and be able to succeed. That's, you're going in the wrong direction if that's the way you're thinking. What you need to be thinking about is, how can I meet the need that's out there with consumers? And that's what your value proposition is all about. Your strategic advantage is another thing, and it's slightly different from your value proposition. It's not what you're going to offer, it's how you're going to compete. It might include the hours that you're going to operate, the flow of your store, the traffic flow of your store. Okay, it might that strategic advantage might come out of your past knowledge with growing, or with the medicinal values of the product and how to connect those with patients that have specific needs. So there's a lot of ways that you can differentiate yourself and strategically compete with other folks doing things that they're not doing. Okay, if everybody's doing the same thing, it's everything, the only way to compete is just by price. So you have to think about, how am I going to maintain margin by offering some type of value to my consumers. The other thing that you need in a business plan is your financial model. How are the finances going to work? And there's a lot of rules of thumb in the legal industry about how to buy, how to price, how to discount. And those things, there's no hard, fast rules about everything because, like I said before, a lot depends on your location and the clientele that you serve. So your financial model should show a realistic, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but a realistic way that your business works and that the money that comes in, how that trickles down through all of your expenses and ends up as profit that can be distributed to you and your partners. And so it is a kind of a representation and should model how your business is going to create cash flow. All right. So that is what's in a business plan. So why do you need a business plan is the second thing on my outline here today. So I mentioned, using it in order to get organized and to get focused, because there's so much different with putting things on paper and documenting, because there's a decision that you're making when you do that, and there's a commitment that you're making when you do that. You have to think about, hey, the promises I make to myself, I want to keep those promises. And so when I put them on paper, it's harder to duck those promises. Okay, you've documented something, it's out there. And especially, if other people are seeing it, then they are seeing your plans, your dreams, your goals, and your commitment to fulfilling those goals. So that's one reason. A second reason is that at some point in the future, when you have partners and co-operators with you and employees and things like that, the business plan serves as a document that it's inanimate. Obviously, it's not, it's just a two-dimensional document that I like to say you can hold out here. And when you're talking to people about things that might be emotional or you might have a difference of opinion about, you can always point to this inanimate object. It's not me versus you or our differing ideas and opinions being passed back and forth. It's, hey, let's look at this, this document. This is where we documented plans and promises and commitments. And so now that, there's something to divert and work together with your partners on this plan. Okay, so that's a good second reason. A third reason is for clarity, strategic clarity, that says this is what we do. This is how we do it. This is where we do it. This is who we do it for. Okay, so it provides that clarity that you can keep going back to when you need to during the time that you run your business. And sometimes you're going to get run down and wonder, why am I doing this? Well, you can look at your your business plan, the purpose, your value proposition, who you're doing this for, why you're doing it, and remind yourself of that. So there are a lot of other reasons why you need a business plan, and I'm going to talk more about talking with potential investors and things like that. But these are some of the littler known reasons that you might need a business plan, is for that strategic clarity and that organization. Okay, so who are the different audiences for your business plan? Well, like I said, it's number one, it's you yourself. Number two, it's the people that you are working with, your partners, your creditors, your employees, your management, whoever it might be. Okay. So that's kind of internal. And then there are external audiences for the business plan. If you are looking for any type of external funding, you're going to need to display your business plan. And so there are some good things and some bad things that can come from showing a potential partner or investor or bank your business plan. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But getting back to banks and what you need to show them, I know that there's not a lot of bank, conventional borrowing opportunity, obviously, in the cannabis industry. Okay, but there are some, types of lenders that are like banks that can help to provide some type of relief for you. And it might be even from your vendors, who are deciding whether they're going to give you 30-day terms on cartridges that you're going to buy, or on equipment you're going to buy. Well, I shouldn't say cartridges. I'm thinking about my past as a vape cart manufacturer. So anyway, you might need it for. You might need 30-day terms for any services that you're buying. Your landlord might want to see your business plan because it shows your financial projections. And like I said, your purpose. So you've got obviously a lot of potential external audiences for your business plan. Now, I want to talk about realistic and unrealistic business plans for a minute. Because, if you are dealing with a sophisticated investor, let's say a potential investor, and your projections for how your business is going to do just goes linear and straight up and to the right, let's say, on a graph. As an investor who's sophisticated and a bit critical, which you might expect in this kind of business environment, this many years into legal cannabis sales, if it looks too unrealistic, people are going to run away quickly. And I tell people as well, because I've seen a lot of these plans, I tell people who are looking at a business plan or a financial proposition, sometimes I look at it for them and I say, oh, you don't walk away or run away. This is not realistic. These people don't know what they're doing. And that's a turnoff. That's a big turnoff that you really, the first impression with an investor has to be solid. And if it looks unrealistic and immature or juvenile, because you're saying we're going to be the Walmart of weed, starting the first week we operate, and we'll sell everything that we've got and keep turning it over, it becomes very obvious that you don't know how to operate the business. Okay, so I'll tell you just briefly a story about how I was. Sorry about that. I had to stop. Somebody was printing something down here. So a story that where I experienced one of these unrealistic business plans. So a friend of mine came to me and said, this is early in the legalization days, and he said, hey, I've been asked to invest in this farm, and would you take a look at the business plan for me and tell me what questions I should be asking? So I took a look at it, and this is an East Coast grow. And the assumptions were that this operation was going to grow cannabis on every inch of this plot of land that they had outdoors on the East Coast. They were going to plant some kind of seeds all the way up to their fence. They calculated a yield, which was a very, very high yield per plant on land that they overplanted. And they were going to have a massive yield, and they were going to sell every gram of that harvest at the top price that was available in the market today. But this was, they hadn't grown anything yet. They had, an option for the land. And so they were saying, we're going to, grow on 100% of that land. In our first season, we're going to have 100% successful harvest. We're going to sell 100% of the harvest at the 100% top price. And our costs were going to be almost nothing because it was going to be operated very efficiently by the people who were putting together the business plan. And they had no experience in growing, but they knew a farmer who was going to come on and work with them, and they were going to produce millionaires in the first month of operating. And my friend was saying, so what should I ask them about the proposal? And I said, don't ask them anything. They're, this is not worth your time. You want to run away from that deal. And he did not want to run away from the deal. I couldn't convince him to just cut these folks off. And he continued to ask them questions. And in the end, he didn't invest. And I'm sure that they never got off the ground. But, he wanted to do it. And as much as I was saying, don't do it, it's clear that they don't know what they're doing. He still wanted to take a look at it. So those are the things, basically, that you don't want to be in the position of having investors take a look at it and say, this is so unrealistic that we're not even going to counter. We're not even going to stay at the negotiation table. We're just going to get up and walk away. And this is what I was suggesting to my friend who showed me these financials. Okay, you don't want to be in that position. The other thing is that the journey of business ownership and getting a startup off the ground is full of pitfalls. You can't predict when they're going to happen, what they're going to be, how much it's going to cost you. But trust me, and I'm sure you do. It's going to happen. There's going to be, you're going to lose money on an inventory purchasing deal. Somebody is going to, some employee is going to, let's say, embezzle some money from the company. There's going to be periods where you might be shut down because the LCB is investigating, somebody in your, investigating your company because they did a sting where you didn't check ID properly, or, somebody's going to get in a fight with a customer, one of your employees. Who knows? I mean, there's just so many things that can happen, and there's no way that you can time those things out or foresee the magnitude of the expense that those will incur on your business. So you do need to consider the fact that your business journey is not going to be a smooth, I'll go like this again with my arm trying to represent a, smooth linear progression with no setbacks, no seasonality, no nothing. It just continues on like this in a straight line and up and to the right, where every month you're making more money. Doesn't work like that. And so one thing that you need to consider with the risks that you'll face, the emergencies that will come, is that your trajectory that you've built like this needs to kind of be flattened out a little bit, needs to consider the, reality. I'm covering my eyes while I do this. Anyway, needs to consider reality. Okay, so you need to have a realistic plan that does not assume that everything will always go 100% perfect. All right, so what are the key points of your business plan? Number one, you need to have an executive summary. Okay, a couple of sentences, like a headline, that very succinctly talks about what your business is about, what you do. We retail cannabis to this type of consumer in this geographical territory. Okay. Then a financial model. Talk about the unit economics of your business. Every time somebody comes in the door, we're going to sell them on average $35 worth of product, and that will produce this much margin for us. And we've got this many workers, and shared across all the sales that we do each month, we end up with, at the end of that $35 purchase, we end up netting, $1.50. And we're going to have 700 customers, or let's say we're going to have 200 customers a day, and our unit economics will get us, that will produce, who knows, $5,000 worth of net profit every month. Okay, so you need to know the economics of how your business is going to work, and that needs to be realistic as well. That's your financial model, your unit economics. Then your business plan, another key point of your business plan is your products and your services. Okay, we sell these type of products in a high touch customer service type of approach, or we have folks take a ticket and we call out the number and they come up to the front, whatever it may be, whatever the way that you are going to offer your service. Okay, but what's special about your products and your service? Then another point of the business plan is your organizational and management structure. So for one store, you might have a manager, an assistant manager, an inventory buyer, a bookkeeper, 6 retail bud tenders, an admin person. Okay, so it's like how are you going to fill out your organization and management, and especially how much is that going to cost you? Okay, then another key point in your business plan, especially if you're going to show it to a potential financial partner or creditor, is your pro forma profit and loss statement. So that is a projection of how your store sales and the revenue that come in are going to trickle down, like I said, to your bottom line, and how that's going to grow over time realistically, and what kind of expenses you're going to face, and how you're going to consistently produce profit. Okay, so that is a pro forma or a projected profit and loss statement. And I usually project those out for 3 years into the future at, showing monthly totals. So you're kind of looking at 36 months into the future. And then lastly, key point of your business plan, I like to include a cash flow forecast. So regardless of what your profit and loss statement might look like, your cash flow forecast is different. When you are growing as a company, you need more cash than you would think you would. And that's a good reason to forecast it. And one of the things that you need more cash for if you're growing is you need more supplies, you need more inventory, you need more people. And that costs money, and it costs money up front. Okay, when you buy inventory in Washington, you've got to pay for it right then and there. And so even if you're making a pretty consistent gross margin of, let's say, 40% of your sales, and your profit and loss statement shows that your cost of goods sold, your inventory costs, are 60% of your sales, which leaves 40% gross margin. What that what that doesn't mean is that every month it just requires 60% of what you sell in terms of cash to buy your inventory. No, in fact, it might be that 75% of your sales revenue goes to product this month, or maybe it's 80%, or it could be 100% of your sales goes to buying product this month. And when it's 100%, it's because you're growing, you've got more customers coming in, you need to serve them, you need more product. Oh, there was a great volume deal to get product for April 20th, for 420, and so you spend extra money, and you got all that, and then you sold it all, and now you have to go out and buy more with the proceeds of those sales because you don't have any inventory left. So you have to realize that, growth just eats cash. And so having a cash flow forecast as part of your business plan is a smart thing to do. Okay, so we talked about what is a business plan. It's a document, it shows your purpose, talks about your strategic advantage. It has a financial model in it. Why do you need it? To get organized, to have a inanimate third kind of outside external document to use and look at, and to bring strategic clarity about what it is that you do, why you're doing it, and how you do it. Who are the different audiences for your business plan? It's internal folks and external folks like potential partners and banks or creditors. What's an unrealistic business plan? It's when your plan assumes that you will not have a setback and you will execute on 100% of every opportunity that you have. And that is going to be a turnoff for people looking at it. What are the key points of your business plan? I said executive summary, a financial model showing your unit economics, a list of your products and services, your organization and your management, a pro forma profit and loss projection, and a cash flow forecast. So hopefully all of that was helpful to help direct you in a way that that you can succeed in your business startup. Okay, thanks so much for your time today, and we'll see you next week.